But, okay. We have one person on Zoom. Glad you're here.
I have a video doctor appointment at 9:30, so I just have to step out for like, I've been sick, not with COVID.
Perfect. Well, thanks for the disclaimer.
Yes.
And I hope you're getting better. And yeah, just do what you need to do. Okay, so we're going to lead generate for business. We just went through that. Nobody's sold a house yet. Show of hands, who's got a client? Okay, so 2 clients. Where'd you get them?
Zillow.
Okay, Zillow, you paid for a lead?
So I work with Ryan Cole.
Okay, yep.
I'm on his team, and we have been paying for Zillow.
Okay.
Like the Zillow agent.
Yep. Premier agent. Okay. So we have Zillow. I'm going to start a list of places. That's not alive anymore. Zillow is not usually, so usually when I teach this class, I don't cover stuff like Zillow just because it's so expensive.
Mm-hmm.
So that don't go buy Zillow leads unless you're on a team and you get them, they're great. But they're very, very expensive. Yeah. Okay, so, and what was your name?
Danielle.
Danielle. And you, ma'am, in the back?
Yes, I have a family and then a friend.
A family member and a friend?
Yes.
Very good. And what's your name?
Azarea.
Do it again.
Azarea.
Azarea. Okay, I didn't even hear the first syllable to try. Okay. Azarea and Danielle. Okay, and you are?
Jack.
Jack? Okay, Jack, nice to meet you. Apparently I can't hear today. That was a simple one.
I'm Lori.
Lori.
Yeah.
Lori, Jack, Danielle, Azarea, and Bruce? Right? Sweet. All right, we'll get there. Okay, so we got family, friends, we've got Zillow, so we've got paid leads and personal leads. And so who has started calling their database and talking to them about what they do? Okay, you guys haven't yet. All right, so I always have a tough time getting started. It's like where to begin, right? Where do we begin? So a lot of people aren't comfortable. I have to remember, like, a lot of people aren't comfortable telling people what they do for a living. Anybody have anxiety about it a little bit? Does it feel uncomfortable? Do you know what to say?
The beginning, but then when they start talking about other stuff that you really didn't plan for, then it gets kind of awkward and uncomfortable.
Extra questions?
Yeah.
What were the questions? Give me a question.
Well, I guess like the hardest part that I have is like reaching out to people and not thinking like, I know that they're thinking like, oh, you're only reaching out because you just started real estate.
Wait, how do you know that?
That's just what I feel.
Oh, I see. Okay,
Yeah.
so you made it up in your head?
Yes.
Okay. If you could make up any story, why would you choose that one?
Because it's the easiest.
Is it?
I don't know.
Is it what you think when someone calls you?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, so it's true for you.
Yeah.
Okay.
Maybe I'm just judgmental though.
Maybe. Are people judgmental?
Yeah.
Yeah. They are. And I gave you a hard time, so thanks for playing along with me. You get to choose what goes on in your head. And the piece that I believe made me successful and why I get passionate about this is I didn't have that part of my brain. It did not occur to me that people did not want to talk to me about real estate. I was so excited to talk about real estate that I talked to everyone. And they might have thought those things about me. I just didn't care and it didn't resonate, and so it didn't hold me back. Because that's the only thing it does is it holds you back, right? The end result is that I got more business. I still believe all my friends like me and all the people who enjoy me like me, right? Like, I don't know, did I probably irritate some people? Probably. I would not know about it. They didn't ever come and tell me, right? I didn't lose sleep over it. So the story I choose to tell myself, once that was brought up, it was about 5 years into my career where someone told me that. I'm like, why do you think that? I don't know. Like, people like to talk about real estate. I grew up with it in my family, right? My dad was in the business. We always talked about real estate. Like, it was just a common topic. So I was really comfortable in that arena. People want to talk about 3 things: health, especially now, weather, and real estate. It's something we all have in common. You're either renting, you're either moving somewhere or going somewhere or making a life change that has to do with either where you live and how your house works or functions, or is it too close to your job, or your commute sucks, or, right? There's so much talk about real estate. It's all over the media. It's a really easy topic. If you say you sell real estate, people often will say, well, how's the market? right? They want to know. If you say you sell Tupperware, they might. If you sell something, sometimes they ask about it. But if you say you're a data analyst for US Bank, do they ask you anything? I mean, they don't even know what you do, right? But you have an easy thing to talk about and people are curious. Now, you don't really want to bulldoze them with information and you don't word vomit all over them, but you don't want to be a secret agent either, and that nobody knows really what you do and you're holding it back. So you can work it into casual conversation, and the best way to do that is to ask someone what they do. Or just talk about work in general using words that imply what you do. I'm not a big fan of, there are people that are like out like, hey, I sell real estate. Do you know anybody who wants to buy or sell? That are constantly gaming and pushing and asking for business. And that I agree. I think in Minnesota especially, we want to kind of, people might get turned off by that. There is a too much, but to generally bring up what you do for a living is a really easy thing to do. And the more comfortable you get doing it, the more business you'll have. And it's that simple. Okay. Any questions? This is a super open room, right? You can say anything you want, and clearly you'll see me do it. But if you're like, Christy, I don't believe that, or here's what is going on inside my head, like the more comfortable we can be with one another, the more I can give you at least that, like a different way to look at it. Because I truly tell myself that they're just not ready yet. If I'm calling somebody back that I met in an open house, they're just not ready yet if they're not answering my call. I will call them for over a year, almost every week. And my message will change, but I will always get the client. Other people will quit. And 80% of my clients I had in my first 5 years of business, this was the overwhelming response. You're the only one who's still calling me. Right? You're going to get people at different times of their buying and selling process, and you don't know where they're at with things. And so the best thing you can do, especially when you have so few leads, is to be helpful and call and check in with them. And I will tell you, your basic instinct might be, hey, just calling to see if you want to go see any more properties. That's okay every once in a while, but otherwise that's super annoying eventually too, because they don't want to, right? So I like this analogy. I used it in February when I taught the class. If you were going to buy, do you guys know what a green egg is? Wrong crowd. Jack, do you know what a green egg is? Come on. It's a meat smoker. Okay. Yeah, right? Yeah. Like it's a meat smoker. It's a really expensive meat smoker. Meat smoking became a thing. I don't have one, but we've given them away for clients. Like people like them. You would meat smoke really, you probably don't quote me on this. You probably meat smoke any time of the year, right? But it's a grill. If you were looking in January for a grill, are you ready to buy it that day? I'm not. I might think of Father's Day gift, or in May, or when the weather got nice, I might pick up a purchase, right? So you start looking online. Start doing a little research, right? You don't want one bad enough to know about it to go get in the car and drive to the hardware store, which is where they sell them, or go over to Home Depot and check out the off-brand, right? You're gonna just start clicking and searching and doing some of that, which is equal to visiting an open house, right? Or like just looking online, right? I'm not ready. If you call me every day and that salesperson calls me and says, hey, you ready to buy a grill yet? Do you wanna come down and see them? I've got 3 of them right here. Do you want one? No, I don't. And you're annoying by April, right? But if he calls and says, hey, we're doing a fundraiser for blah, 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 and we're giving away 3 grills. Do you want me to enter your name in that? Or, hey, we're doing a cook-off thing this weekend and how to use the grill. Do you want to come take that training? Or, hey, we've got these great recipes. Would you like me to send them to you? Right? Do I want his call? He's not annoying. He's at least helpful. Right? He's giving me value. I'm getting something from that phone call or that message, or he certainly isn't trying to shove something down my throat that I'm not ready for. He's coming from contribution. So your calls are going to follow up like, did you hear that rates changed? I don't know your timing yet. I just want to make sure that you know if you have any questions, call me. Right? Or, hey, we didn't get a chance to touch on this at the open house, this is Christy again. I know that the timing may be not right for you right now, but I just want you to know I haven't forgotten about you, and I'm here with anything you need. Right? Another couple weeks go by. Hey, I know I met you at an open house. I just want you to know you don't always have to wait for those. If there's ever a property you want to get into, since things are selling so fast, just let me know. I'm happy to open it up for you. Right? Like just coming from contribution, which isn't like, hey, just check in if you opened my email yet. Right? Like just do a little better and you'll raise your bar considerably. Okay. Does everybody know what lead generation is? Anybody confused? In real estate, we have two jobs, two full-time jobs. One is lead generate and one is sell houses, right? The moment you stop lead generating because you get a client, you're gonna suffer like a roller coaster effect in your business. So the consistency, in order to get a consistent income and consistent business, takes consistency in the lead gen department. I can't even see this. I need like the big markers. No way anybody's going to see. Text Wendy. Hey, any chance you can bring me a big fat marker?
Do you want me to go get one?
We'll see. If she doesn't show up, then. And what consistency looks like is you're going to do this at least 2 hours a day. Every day, no matter what. No matter what your schedule is. I used to not teach these classes because they wouldn't do them before 11 or after 11. And so the lead gen class always started on a weird time in order for me to teach it. Like all your other classes were at 9 and then this one was at 11 to prove a point. Like lead gen every day from 9 to 11. I lead generated every day from 9 to 11 and my business went from 60 units to 150 units. My general disposition of not giving a hoo-ha about what anybody thinks about me, it leads me to sell 40 to 60. People who let their thoughts get in their way sell 5 to 10. So it's really up to you how badly you want to hold on to your belief system and your habits, because your current belief system and your current habits actually won't lead you to your goal. And I wish if I could shake you all right now, if you want to actually succeed in real estate, you wonder why 90% of people don't, it's this class here. The rest of the classes don't matter at all if you don't get this one right. Did everybody feel the energy just go? Did you feel it? I love that part. And I say that to kind of scare you, but to have you really understand how important it is. If you only do one thing, this is it. You actually only have to work 2 hours a day. Take the other 22 hours off. Everything else will fill up your time. Time suck. Yeah, Jack.
Can you talk about lead generation outside of your inner circle of close family and friends?
Mm-hmm. Yep, we will. First, I'm going to go through. I have 2 pages. No, 1. All right, we're going to do it here because I need that extra page. That extra page is going to be what we're going to talk about too. Okay, so I'm going to go this way so I can write. Who's willing to be my guinea pig? If I haven't scared you completely already. Come on, Bruce.
I'd say I can be because I'm safe over here.
You're safe hiding behind your still photo. Did you not shower today?
I showered earlier this month.
Attaboy. Oh, there he is. Okay, Bruce, how much money do you want to make this year?
It would be great to make 120,000 this year.
120, that's the goal.
Yep.
Are you going to spend 120,000 so after tax money or before tax?
That could be pre-tax.
Okay, so you can spend 70.
Yep.
So we want to make $120,000, and this is where I need my bigger marker. Do you want to go grab one for me? Thank you. Yeah, I had a bigger one, and then it's dead. So we want to make $120,000. Bruce, you haven't sold a house yet, correct?
Correct.
Do you have an idea of what your average sale price would be?
I would think it would be right around 350.
Okay, which is probably pretty fair. We're gonna use I'm gonna use whatever the math is to make the average commission 10 grand. How about that? I think that's $3,333 average, right? Or a $300,000 average, that would be 9.
Yep.
So something like that, right? We're gonna assume that we're gonna make 10 grand on average per house. Can we do that? Because that'll make all my math easier. Okay, so then how many houses do we need to sell?
12.
Oh, thank you very much. Okay. Okay. Now I have colors. All right. Can you see this, Bruce?
I cannot, but I'm following your math.
Okay.
Now I can.
Okay. All right. Now we got our bigger marker. All right. 12 houses. Are you going to work with listings or buyers more?
Probably equal. I would think around equal of each. I'm not sure.
Do you know a lot of people who trust you to sell their house?
I know a lot of people who trust me, and I think I can, yes, sell their homes for them.
Okay. I ask that because sometimes people don't trust you yet, right? Your family and friends know that you're new. Some people do have a pretty good knack for getting into listings right away. Most of our, in a market that's tilted like this, where there's more buyers than sellers, you're typically, especially when you're new in your days, gonna have more buyers than sellers. Is it okay if I use a little more buyers than sellers so that,
Yeah.
if you're right, you'll just accidentally sell more than 12 houses?
Of course, yeah.
Okay, good. So we're gonna say that, I'm gonna say that 7 of them are gonna be buyers and 5 are gonna be listings. That's how we're gonna get to our 12. And in order to get 5 listings, how many listings do you need to put on the market? In order for 5 to sell, how many do you need to put on the market?
I guess I don't have a great education on that, but I would think probably 8.
Okay. That's actually probably right by the book, right? And depending on how good you are at pricing right now, you might give some people some bad advice. They might sit on the market. They might say, well, I don't really have to sell. When the market shifts and prices start to soften, you're going to get people canceling. So typically you're going to sell about 70% of the homes that you list. Right now I'm selling like 95, right? Because the market's crazy.
So that number would be different, right?
Right now. But same thing, we're going to get to the buyers in a second because you're not going to sell all them houses either because they can't get a house, right? And normally they're really high because they can't. So we're going to just kind of play with some of these numbers. So let's just say that you need to do 7. So we need to list 7 to sell 5. Okay, we're going to misprice one of them and one person is just going to not be that motivated. Okay. So we're going to list 7. How many appointments do you need to go on in order to list 7?
I would guess 21.
Okay, so the book says you should, high efficiency or a good listing agent is going to take 70 to 80% of the appointments they go on is going to sign with them.
Oh.
Rough numbers are 50%. Really rough are 20. Right? So here's how this maps out, right? Your mom, is she going to list with you?
Yes.
Oh, mom, let's hope. Right?
Over my brother.
Over your brother, right? Your brother might interview 3 people, right? And your mom might too, but you kind of get what I'm going at. You're going to have some of these for sure deals. Some of you met in an open that you're going to help buy. They're definitely going to list with you. That's an easy one once you've got that relationship going. But you might find somebody, if you start door knocking or doing for sale by owners or expireds, they're going to interview other people. Your math is going to be about 50-50 on those people, and then that's going to counterbalance your 90% on the others. You're also going to go on some listing appointments that are going to decide not to move. You're going to decide, I don't like the number, I don't have to move that bad, or you know what, we decide to stay, you know what, we didn't get the job, you know what, I think we're going to whatever. and they just didn't choose anything, right? So because you're gonna be willing to sit down with just about any warm-blooded person who wants to know about their house, right? I would, right?
Yep.
Might as well sit and talk to them, right? Okay, so let's just say we're gonna go on 14 appointments. We'll do a 50% conversion rate. You wanna go on more than that, that's fine. How many do we need to set? Because some cancel, right? Some say yes and then they never call you back, or they say yes, they keep moving it, or something changes before you even get there. So we're gonna set, let's just say we're gonna set 18. I don't think your numbers, on this small of numbers, the numbers don't show up that much. Sometimes you can hit 100% of the board, right? You just, because you're not talking to that many people, right? So in order to set 18 listing appointments, that's 1.5 per month. That's almost hard to do, right? Like, how do you even keep track of that? So you need to, how many people do you need to talk to set an appointment? Typically it's 40 until you get good at it. 40 to 1.
Here, I'll plug it in for you.
Well, you're gonna have to talk to 60 people a month.
720
Yep.
per month to accomplish 7 listings per year.
No, that's not right. I mean, I should say that gentler, like I'm just direct, sorry. I think you're maxed off. We only need to set 1.5 appointments per month. Right, so we had to divide this by 12 still. And so when we need to set 1.5, right? 1.5 of 40 is 60. We need to talk to 60 people a month in order to get our seller side.
40 to 1 is every 40 people you talk to, you're gonna land.
You're gonna get an appointment.
Get an appointment.
Yep, so we're gonna be 40 to 1 here, which means we're gonna have to talk to 60 sellers, well, 60 people per month, which is 15 per week, right? To get this side done. How many of you right now are talking to 15 new people a week? So this is exactly where we end up when I say most people sell like 5 to 10 houses. So we kind of do this. Okay. So now, because making 120 grand, isn't that awesome? That doesn't come with no work. And everybody would be a realtor if it was just the fun part of taking people and talking about HGTV and, right, seeing houses. Like one of the only people that got into real estate because they love houses that made it as far as I did. Usually the people who love houses are out ski. They don't have what it takes. Okay, so we're gonna go through the buyer side the same way. Is it helpful when I go slow? We can understand? Going slow enough? Okay, my temptation is just fill it all in, so I'll go slow again. Okay. You wanna sell 7 buyers. We aren't even gonna talk about how many offers you're gonna write right now. That means we talk about taking buyers or signing a buyer, right? So buyers taken, right? That is how many buyers agree to work with you that you're actively showing and you believe that whether you have a signed contract or not, that's a whole different class. Just how many people are you gonna work with? And I'm gonna say right now, normally this is like an 80% of buyers that you sign should buy. You're barely at 50 right now. There's so many buyers out there. There's not enough houses. And a lot of the buyers you're gonna run into are gonna be looking under 300. And the competition is fierce, right? So I'm gonna say you're gonna need 14 buyers for sure to get to your 7. Okay, how many appointments do you need to go on? Probably 16. And let's just keep math easy, you maybe set 18, right? Buyers are pretty easy, which is why they're easier for you guys to get and do and work. Doesn't cost them anything. They don't typically interview other agents. They ask a lot of good questions. You get to be a teacher, right? It's a lot of fun. There's not a lot of tension. There's not a why isn't my house selling, right? It's a shopping experience. Okay, it's a lot of fun. Okay, so then the same conversion rates apply. Hopefully they'll be a little better, but we need 60 people per month, which is again 15 per week. So we need to be talking to 30 people every week in order to hit this goal. $30 people. 6 people a day you have to call, have a real estate conversation with. Now to me, it's a pretty small price to pay to make 120 grand. But most people aren't willing to do it every day. Right? Because it's not just the days you do it. You skip a day, you have to call 12. You skip 2 days, you have to talk to 18. You rock. I just need those for later, and my computer isn't set up.
That's all good.
Thank you.
Christy,
Yeah.
could you text me a photo of that possibly? It's a little hard to see from here.
Yeah. Absolutely. And
Whatever.
can you write down my number?
Yeah.
612
Yep.
231
Yep.
5565.
Yep. Thanks.
Will somebody text me a picture of that? And I'll forward it to Bruce.
Thank you. And
Yep.
so everyone, how many live bodies do you have in your room there, Christy?
4.
Oh, okay.
Okay, so you can all write down and keep my phone number. Feel free to text me with a question anytime. I'm always happy to help. And no one does. Ever. I teach a lot of classes. No one ever texts me and asks me a question, just so you know. I have like one guy from Orlando. His name is Ontario or something. It confuses me.
You're the Christy that I did the open house for.
Yes!
I literally have your number in my phone.
There you go.
You
That's
wanna repeat
right.
it real quick?
What's that?
Would you repeat your number real quick?
Yep,
Oh,
612
shoot. You wrote it.
231 5565. Christy Kimbrel, CHNY. And then Kimbrel is KIMBREL.
Sorry, I'm just putting that together right now. It's early in the morning.
That's okay. Yeah, you covered my open for me when I didn't feel good. Okay, so we need to talk to 30 people a week. If you're doing an open house, that's great. You might talk to 5. Right? 5 people a week is going to get you maybe 5 sales. Right? That might be a little bit of the stall you're feeling. And so let's talk about how we're going to talk to 30 people a week, okay? Oh, I have more people. Okay, so this class go till noon? We won't be. We can be if you really want to be, but. All right, so if we're going to talk to 30 people a week, where was I going to go with this? There was one other thing I was going to do first. Oh, your database, right? Do we all have a database put together?
Starting it.
When will it be done by?
It will never be.
Okay, well, I mean, I love that. I love that answer. Like, when will you, because by the way, there are some people in the business for a couple of years that still don't have one collected. Like, do you know where, like, you have all the names, all the phone numbers, you have a way to do a mailing tomorrow to your database? That's what I mean. When will you have the people you know now collected and done? Right. So let's all set a goal.
As soon as possible.
Yeah, but that's not brains like certainty and clarity. So when will it be done by?
November 1.
November 1, says Bruce. Bruce,
All Saints Day or something.
November 1, how many people are going to be in your database?
In mine, I would think there'll be about 300 realistically.
200. And you'll have name, phone number, and address?
That's why it's going to take till November 1. Yeah. I have lots of phone numbers, as a lot of people do, to get, and email addresses for most people. But yeah, to get the address part, and Christy, if you have some advice on this, I'm very interested. I was just trying to look up a friend of mine's parents' address the other day and trying to figure out, I knew what city they were in, but I couldn't figure out what their address was. And I eventually did by digging around, but like whitepages.com, I mean, do you have any advice on some of that? I mean, I know calling them, of course, is a great way, or out to them.
Yeah, you can, the tax records in MLS are pretty easy if they have a unique last name. So that it doesn't work under Johnson, but it does for, you know, I don't know, Wheeler, right? Like you can kind of figure it out if you know about the city they live in or approximately where they live. What I like to about the MLS search or the Hennepin County search is you can click around if you know where they live and you get close enough, you can kind of click down the houses and find their name. That's a good, easy way. Spokeo, you can purchase and get a membership, and then it can pull phone numbers and reverse lookups and things like that. I have always had a Spokeo subscription. I probably sound ancient in saying that. There might be a better version. I haven't researched beyond Spokeo in 8 years. I've just had one, it still works, so there might even be something better now. But yeah, white pages, if you know the problem is the Johnsons and the Millers and the Petersons and those people are a little more difficult. So find somebody who knows them. Hey, I have an idea, call them. You have to call them anyways. I got into real estate. I don't want to be that person, but I am trying to put things together. It's almost the holidays. I'd love to send you a holiday card. Right? It's holiday season kind of. I'm trying to get my holiday list in order. I realize I don't have your address. What address could I mail a card to? They will tell you their address. Even if you're like, you'd be amazed. 99% of people are just going to tell you their address.
I'm not trying to escape like the real estate side of things, but like when you do call them to let them know that you like want to send them something, does it necessarily have to do with like real estate? Like I just got engaged last month, so I would say like I'm gonna send you a Christmas card of our engagement photo.
Yeah.
So you can like, not saying you're lying about it, but
Oh no, totally.
okay.
The reason we do events is to have something else to talk about, right? It's a perfect time of year. I'm getting my holiday list in order. Just realized I don't have your address or an updated address for you. I wanted to make sure you still live on Yellowstone Trail, right? Just have that conversation. They don't care. They don't even get phone calls anymore. Shoot them a text. Hey, I'm missing your address in my phone. I would love to mail you a card for around the holidays. You'll get their address back, okay? So Bruce, I just did the math. You'll see I break everything down into numbers. You have to do 75 people a week, which is 15 people a day. And it's already the 8th, so you might as well do 20 a day because you already burnt a week. Can you do 20 a day? Every day, 5 days a week?
Yes.
Okay, so that's your goal. You'll know when you're behind if you get to the end of the day and you didn't do 20.
I hate that it's hard to eat an elephant in one bite.
Yeah, so I'm gonna say that that's gonna take you 5 minutes per person. So you've got 4 to 5 hours a day. Do you want to change your November 1st right now, or are you going to commit?
No, I need to stay there. I've got to get this going.
Yeah, if you're not doing anything else and you don't have any clients, that's what's going to make you money, is that list, having that list together. You don't actually have to mail to them, but you do need their addresses. You're in the business. You can send them a listing that you could set eventually, don't do this while you're doing the work. You can eventually set people up on a neighborhood search. Plop in their address, do a little half-mile radius, you have their email address. Next time you call them, hey, I'm putting together some neighborhood updates. Would you like me to send you the properties in your neighborhood when they come on the market and or sell? Oh no, I look on Zillow all the time, or I can find that anywhere. Well, you actually can't get sale information, not accurate, without it coming from a licensed realtor. It's not published anywhere. Unless you want to go find it on your own by entering an address into the Hennepin County search engine. Okay. Okay, so Bruce is November 1. Danielle? No, Lori.
Lori, yeah.
Lori. Yeah.
Gosh. I did download my friends list into a spreadsheet on my Facebook friends, but I have to go through because because, you know, some of them are not
Right.
18 and there's like 700 of them. What's a good number to start to shoot for? I mean, I will continue to,
How long have you lived here?
I'm 46, so my whole life.
Your whole life, okay.
In
And do you have
Minnesota.
children?
Yes.
How old are they?
Almost 16, almost 18, 20, and 22.
Are they pleasant people?
Yes.
They have friends?
Yes.
They're friends of parents? Okay. Do you go to church?
Yes, although I'm transitioning, I just moved to Scandia from Shakopee.
Okay.
But I still am connected with the church. I mean, I went to church.
I'm just
for-
trying to figure out like how many people you know, right?
Oh,
Like
I know a good amount. of
I'm gonna
people.
say
Yeah.
probably then a good number for you is 400.
Okay.
Start there. I think you're cutting yourself short.
Well, that would just be my initial goal, because yes, I
Yeah.
will continue to keep adding.
Somewhere to start. Yeah, you'll keep adding, but
Yeah.
if you start thinking of like, depends on how long you've lived here. Sometimes I get people like, I just moved here, I don't know a soul, right? That's a different deal, right?
Yeah.
It's a relevant fact. I'm not gonna pretend you can pull out 400 names from Minnesota, nor do I subscribe to, well, call everybody from Arkansas. Maybe they know someone who lives in Minnesota. Okay, you're just gonna have to start differently in order to be efficient. But for the most part, if you're to have a wedding, you would invite 200 people. Right, so 200, somewhere between 200 and 400 for most people that actually have lived here more than 5 years is realistic.
Number of people that you know.
Correct. That you could then, if you called them and said your full name, would they know you? Maybe not your first name, Jack who, right?
Mhm.
Yeah.
Are we going around
No, I was just answering
With
your question.
how
Yeah,
many?
yeah, I will end up coming to you. So Lori, when's yours gonna be done?
And not November 1st, if I'm doing 400, because
Well,
I
you saw what I did to him, right?
Yeah, I know. Because I'm also working another job for a friend right now, so like I don't have all day to do it. I did 10 a day.
An hour a day?
Yeah, I could do that.
Sorry, you can't talk right now.
Let's see.
An hour a day, so 10 a day. You need 40 work days. There's 20 in a month, so it's 2 months.
Okay, 2
So it's
months.
December 8th.
Yes, December 8th.
Okay.
If I get it done before then,
8 weeks, right? 50 per week. We had him at 20 per day. He's only got 3 weeks, and that should be really pretty. Okay. My painter. If he calls in, I'm gonna answer it. 20 per day, right? We're doing 10 per day.
10 a day, yep.
Okay. I'm spending so much time on this because this is actually where your money is going to be. And if we don't have this done, you're just going to drive yourself crazy looking for unknown new people to develop a relationship with out of thin air. Azarea. I was like Azarella wasn't right, and it wasn't nearly as pretty. That's right. It was like the Cinderella sisters.
I get that a lot.
Azarea. Okay. Spell.
AZUREYA.
Oh, that's fun. Okay. How many people?
I'm gonna go for
Okay. And I win. Oh, whoa.
it's Thanksgiving.
It's like the 24th.
So November 24th would be, or November, like that week of Thanksgiving. Okay, so it's not Thanksgiving.
All right, why don't you call it a date for me? Brain like clarity.
Yes, of course.
And as long as you did the weird thing like that.
I'm sorry.
That's all right. Now you can figure out how many days you have
I have like
to
a
do it.
Thanksgiving
I like it.
mailer I want to send.
Okay,
out.
good.
Yeah.
It's good to have a deadline. It's kind of like losing wedding or wait for a wedding or something like that, or getting in shape for vacation.
It's the 26th, so that would be today's what, the 8th?
So there's 24 days left in this month, right? Or
Yes,
23 days, and then plus your 26 days. So then we're at 49 days. So 49 full days. That would be every day doing this, weekends, everything. Okay?
I think I'm gonna try all the weekends, just to live from home and just be able to kind of interact.
Okay, divide 400 by 49. I guess we're gonna get 8 per day. Ready? If you pull weekends and you have, it drops your number quite a bit, right? I'm doing 5 days a week. We're allowing for 2 days for you to screw up your schedule, not feel well, have a friend call, right? Any of the above. Okay.
Question, can I ask a question?
Yeah.
Starting off, I know that, the whole point of real estate office gives you the flexibility and that kind of thing. Do you think that weekends starting off are a good kind of option, or would you kind of stick to the Monday through Friday work week? And that's personal preference usually. But
No, I'm trying to like not be too direct. So when I start to filter, like the people who get into the business for flexibility, this is the least flexible job you'll ever have. When you're not making any money, you have flexibility. Otherwise, you're somebody's beck and call person, right?
Yeah.
There's nothing flexible about that. I work, so my first 6 years, I worked every single day. And then I started taking 1 day off a week. I've taken Thursdays off a week, every week since 2006, every Thursday. And then when I went and became a MAPS coach, I gave my Thursdays away, right? I did that every Thursday all day. So I knew my business could run with me not working 1 day a week. My goal was to get to a point where I could say no to $1 million client because they wouldn't move off my Thursday. I did that in 2012. So you just have to be committed to it. But no, I would work every single day. Yeah. It's probably not what they want me to tell you, but if you've got the energy, you're young, you don't have other commitments, what are you filling your time with? If you feel burnt out, take a day off then.
2 hours a day though.
That's what I mean. It's 2 hours, you guys. You would work out 2 hours a day, right? Like, or some people do.
People are on TikTok longer than that,
You certainly watch Netflix more than 2 hours a day. Like, let's look at what we're putting in to get your 100,000, your 6-figure income. Some of those people that make 6 figures travel constantly, are away from their families, work 50, 60 hours a week. This is not for, if it was easy to do, everyone would do it. It takes commitment beyond what others are willing to do. Okay? It's simple, it's just not easy. So yes, I would do it every day. And I would shoot my math for 10 a day. Therefore, the day that I didn't feel good or didn't feel like it or needed a break, I could take one and I earned one because I'm ahead of schedule. But if you didn't earn it, you don't get to take it. So I always blocked off like a Sunday to do, if it was my schedule, knowing that I'm human, is I would block off Sunday and I'd have 20 on Sundays. And then I get to take Sunday off if I'm on schedule. But otherwise, I already planned my makeup time. Yep, Jack.
All right, 1,000.
1,000, okay. When are you gonna have it done by?
Okay, like a week before Thanksgiving.
Okay. So that would be November 19th. So at 5 minutes per person, roughly, is about how long it takes between the clicking and the searching and whatever. You're at 5,000 minutes. Will you divide that into hours for me?
$83.
83 hours. Okay. And how many work days do we have? Or how many days do we have between then and now? 40. Yeah. So we have 40 days. That means we need to work 5 hours a day, every day, right?
Of lead generating.
Of fixing your database.
Reaching out and getting.
But you actually have to get it.
Right.
So you need 1,000 contacts that have name, email, and address.
And can I lower my number?
This is your goal. Yes.
Like,
I had a 5,000 person database to go through, and I did it in 6
I'm
months.
not gonna spend 5 hours.
Right? I did
in the
about
next 40
800 a week.
days.
You know, I broke it down and I went, okay, I'm gonna do 200 a week. Some of them I just deleted, right? Like I don't want
Or
that. Some were
I
too bad.
suppose change my date.
How many hours are you gonna spend every day? And by the way, some of this, it doesn't really count as lead gen. This is setting up your business, right? You might get some contacts in here, but most of your time is gonna be clicking on Spokio, trying to find them on Facebook and friending them. Like you're gonna get lost in the click stream really fast. Like I would suggest setting a 5-minute timer on your phone every time, because all things expand to the time allowed. You'll get real efficient at beating that timer to make sure it doesn't ooze and all of a sudden you're stuck in a scroll fast that you didn't realize was happening. Right? Because you're gonna so minimize your windows that are open, figure out where you're gonna find your data.
So if I averaged 1 hour a day moving forward, it would be 200 days.
Okay. Can your business afford to wait till halfway through next year?
Well, so I'm planning on attacking outside of my circle in my first months, starting out, and then attacking that circle.
Okay.
So I'm not that's not where I'm focusing my energy for my first, through probably my first 5 transactions.
Okay. All right. So,
That's partly why I asked if you can go over lead generation outside of your circle.
well, of course you should. You just need your database.
Right.
So if you're gonna lead generate 8 hours a day and there's
And
no other time in your business.
So your advice on how to get an address without I'm just I want to send out cards this year. That was a good piece of advice for me because I want to do that and I'm gonna start touching those people, but not bring up real estate yet.
It's just about when are you gonna have your database together? So you've got how many people in your phone? How many of them do you intend to get full contact information for? You need to run.
I have 1,300 contacts.
Okay, so let's assume 600 of them you actually know and remember and whatever, right? And 400 of them you may actually want to continue to talk to on a regular basis. Would that be fair?
Yeah.
It's probably heavy, but right? So if you're at 400 like the rest of these folks, I'm gonna prescribe you. You're kind of like the person who comes into the doctor and says, I really have a headache and I have a nail in my head, but I'm gonna keep it there because I'm gonna go take some aspirin and I'm gonna do some other things first. So let me warn you on skipping your database for too long because you're not that busy. You have enough time to do both. And so I definitely believe in lead generating with everybody. But if you're doing 1 hour a day, you're gonna, get 10 people sorted from your database. In 40 days, you could be done. Have a 400-person database that's ready to go to send your holiday cards to. That will have already thought about you, and then when they make their decisions January 1 on what they're gonna do, you will be top of mind. Because otherwise, you might actually get busy working those not nets and never ever have this kind of time available for your business to set this up. Because let's assume you're awesome at the not nets. That's great. I've met people like you and they miss 50% of their business for years because they never set it up. And unfortunately, then you're always on a grind because your phone doesn't just ring. It takes 6 years for your phone to ring. You want to wait 6 years? Because those people, those not mets, become past clients, and that's how long it takes them to come full circle again and refer you and for that to get traction. So by deciding to take 3 months off here, that could cost you easily $100,000. So if you just do 1 hour a day, it's fine if it's not your priority, it doesn't have to be. It's an easy place to hide, so be careful about hiding here. And I hear you don't want to hide here. You're gonna go get other business, that's fine. Kudos to you for doing that. But set aside 1 hour a day to work on your database because your database is your business. Okay, so if we have 400 people in our database and it's properly worked on a 33 touch, has anybody read the Millionaire Real Estate book to know how many deals you have? So the book says 12 to 1. So you take your number in your database, divide it by 12, and that's how many sales you should be able to get from your database. So how many is that on these 400 person database?
33.33.
33?
Yeah.
So if you do a crappy job at communicating with it, you should be able to hit your goal of selling 12 houses. I think it's 1,980 in the book on a 12 to 1 conversion rate nets you $1 million. So that's 1,980 is the end goal for your database, properly worked relationships that you have with others. This is why this piece is important, because when you're doing 60 deals and you're finding 30, like five per month or 3 per month on your own from opens and cold calls and those things, you can get to this number, but with focus. This part though happens naturally through conversation, talking to 400 people. 400 divided by 12 was 33. You have to talk to 33 people a week in order to get 33 sales. If they know you and they trust you. And I did that is because they're on a quarterly call, right? When you're talking to your database, you talk to them 4 times a year. So every quarter's got about 12 weeks in it. That's how I got to that 33 people per week. It's always it's 5 or 6 people a day from your database, forever and ever, amen. And the neat part is you can do that in a half an hour. Unless you get on the phone with your Aunt Sally and they answer, luckily now you can do kind of half text, half calls. Like, hey, just thinking about you. We're doing a pumpkin giveaway. Let me know if you want one. That's a touch, right? And that's all it takes. These are the phone calls. So don't forget about your database. Okay, so once you put together your database, if it's properly worked, unfortunately, it's going to take a couple years to get to these numbers. Probably 2 or 3 years of you continually calling, having conversations, staying in relationship before they trust you and know you and you get enough turn, because real estate's a long sales cycle. So what do you do in the meantime? Right? Keep wanting to lick my finger. So against anything, we're all right. Paper. Okay, so now we gotta figure out all the ways to lead generate that don't cost you any money. Talk about Zillow. Zillow is super expensive, like $500 to lead. Can do it. I don't. I used to when it was $300 for a zip code. But unfortunately, I canceled it, and then you lose those numbers. I'm sure they would have just jacked it up on me by now, but that was a long time ago. Okay, so where are all the places that we can lead generate? I'll start. You'll catch on. Right? Door knocking, we talked about that. Database. Right now it's holiday kind of conversation, putting together my list, would love to reconnect with you. Booking lunches or coffees or happy hours. Speaking of that, I made hundreds of thousands of dollars at other people's happy hours. That's tougher right now, right, with COVID and things closed, but we get what we're going after. It's really, how do you meet your friends' friends, right? How do you expand your database and keep adding? So if they're ever doing like, it's going to the party, I mean, I know parties are weird, let's just pretend it'll eventually go back to normal. But it's going to your neighbor's house that you don't know very well and going to their housewarming party or showing up to a housewarming party or going to those things you're like, I don't want to. You go anyways, and you're gonna meet people, right? Clubs, like for groups, right? So that's like church groups,
School functions.
brush your dog group, whatever you're into, roller skating, rollerblading, sports, right? If you still have time to participate in sports, great. If you've got kids and you're going to sporting events, so ways that I lead generate without like subtly is this is not maybe what I would go to a sporting event in, but if I knew I was going to a sporting event and I was working first, I usually dress up a little more. So when I show up, people know I'm at work, right? Because I want when I walk in for them to go, oh, you were working. Yep, I was showing houses. Yep, I was at a listing appointment. Got a new listing coming on up the road, right? It's just a casual conversation. Either that or I've got something Keller Williams on. Right? Those are the people I'm trying to at least let them know I'm in the business. I do not go around the hockey arena asking who wants to buy, sell, or invest in real estate. It's very subtle. But those who know me and get in a conversation, I'm going to bring up real estate some way or another. Are you going to the game on Saturday? Are you doing this? No, sorry, I was showing houses, right? Like, oh, I've got to work until 3. I'm hoping I can make it. I've got to show 4 houses to this new couple from blah, blah, blah. Just tell your story a little bit. There's nothing overtly in their face about that. Okay? So we've got sports, we've got database, we've got other people's database, we've got open houses. Shadow people on their open houses, figure out what they do that's successful. You will find a lot of different recipes in here on what works for them. And people will work with you because they like you, right? Like attracts like, right? My husband's in real estate. We are so different. It's ridiculous. His clients would never want to work with me and mine hate him, right? It's just, I'm not for everybody, and that's fine. I'm way over the top. I'm way too bossy. I'm way too all these things. I'm way too aggressive. He's slow as a turtle. Won't even return people's calls or answer his phone, right? That guy was confused why I didn't answer, right? So everybody's a little different. So I tend to go with humor, knowledge, coming from contribution, you know, make a joke, make them feel comfortable, make light of the situation, even with the mass or with agents that are bombarding them. I go into opens. Have you ever been to other people's opens? You ever go in as a customer? Jeff Martineau, great guy, known him for decades at a basic level, was actually sleeping last time I was at an open that he was at. $1.4 million. Startled him right off the couch. The bar's low, people. Just do better. Okay.
Volunteer.
Volunteer, yep, good one.
Cold calling?
Yep, who are you calling? Who are you calling?
I was going to ask about cold calling
Yeah.
strangers.
Mhm.
Where do you usually go about doing that, and what's your take on doing it at all?
You can cold call, but I'm still going to say who you're calling, because if you're really just going down the phone book, most people don't have one anymore. So you still have to pull a search, right? So you've got to do it like usually geographically. And then what are you saying? So usually I call those like just listed, just sold calls. Hey, we've got a new listing coming up, or hey, I just sold one up the street, or hey, I'm having an open house this weekend in the area. Want to invite you over. That's all cold calling to me. It's just a little more of a purpose than a, hey, I'm a realtor in the area. Have you ever thought about selling? Right? Some sort of information or value.
Yeah, I was gonna say, like, door knocking, I'm going around my neighborhood today, like, you could cold call, like, get a list of people in your neighborhood.
Yeah.
And call them, and that's, like, a good way to make contact. Is because you already have that relationship with them living in the same neighborhood.
Yep. I'm a realtor. I'm your neighbor. Facebook groups are good, like creating a neighborhood Facebook group. Those are still a thing, even though there is Nextdoor. These work really well. So if you live in a neighborhood, create a neighborhood Facebook page and then go around talking to people, gather their email, you have their address, you're standing at their door, and ask them what a good number to contact them, make a directory for your neighborhood. Or say you're gonna create a neighborhood Facebook page, you'd love for them to use it. And then you're gonna put things of value on there, right? You're gonna be the person that's talking a lot and contributing and adding value.
Can you make posts on, like, Facebook groups and, like, I don't know if you can just be like, can I have your numbers? Or there's, like, obviously a better way to ask for, like, numbers or addresses. Like, for my neighborhood, there's, like, the Lake Minnetonka Facebook page, and there's lots of people, thousands of people on that Facebook page. Like, how would you go about, like, reaching out to those people?
Like if you're just gonna post on that feed, on that
That's what I'm
group
asking,
feed,
can you do
like what
that?
would you post?
Yeah,
Well, most of the solicitation, they won't let you do, they'll flag it and take it down.
okay,
I have put stuff on there like, hey, like, I think it's always good if you know it's borderline to say, hey, please take this down if it's not allowed. I think that makes you seem less smarmy. You know, I'm doing an open house. I'd love to meet, you know, I'm doing something. I don't think you're going to be able to get them to get their information. I think you need to be a little more localized in order for that. So like if you had like the Lake Minnetonka page is like 3,000 and some people. And so I think if you said, hey, I'm putting together a directory for our neighborhood, here's a Google link, please go through. But I think the world's gotten to a place where they don't really want a directory, right? And they don't necessarily want that much access. So I don't know that you're going to get strangers necessarily to do that. But if you were door knocking, I think it would be easier. And so I don't want to tell you not to do something because I don't think it is likely doesn't mean it's not going to work. But I would just try to real lightly and see what you can figure out.
okay. Yeah, the people on there aren't always the nicest too, so I'm always afraid they're gonna like
Well,
start
that's
talking.
they can be kind of trolls, yeah. And you don't need any sort of social media bashing about this girl who keeps asking for my information. You know what I mean? I think that publicly doing that is more difficult than one-on-one. So
Okay.
you could message somebody, hey, you know, this is a neat thing, and this was before COVID, and I always wanted to do it. One of my favorite ideas was somebody went on Nextdoor in a different state and said, hey, I want to invite anybody who's new to the area to come over for a brunch. I want to meet your neighbors, the people that are in your community. If you don't have a good network of people who support you, I want to invite you for a prayer and a brunch. She had 300 people.
Oh, wow.
She had to split it into 2 weekends. Right? Like, how cool is that? That gives me chills. It makes me feel bad. Right? There's a lot of people out there who really do want to connect and don't really know how anymore. And so if you can be a connector, like that's where if I was going to get real into one of those pages or like find something you're passionate about and pour into that bucket. And we can always brainstorm on ways to help you do that. But those are, you know, again, pre-COVID, that was great. You know, posting a lot on social media does work for people to get to know you. It's real passive, but it's definitely a layer that you should use, right? We've got social media.
What about like partnerships?
Tell me more.
Just like different organizations that I work with and volunteer with, and not in a kickback kind of way, but in a we kind of work each other's network, and we're able to have some of my business cards while also informing them of that business or that kind of.
Yeah, so I think what you're describing, I might, like, what would a networking group work for that? Something like that. So I'm going to say like a give back. Like if you go together with a vendor to do something to give back to one another or give back to their database, and you pull your databases together to do something, I think that's a great way to latch on to someone else's momentum and partner for something, right? Then we have networking groups are great. So when people don't have, I actually had a guy who, like, I gave away a coaching session at one of my trainings, and he's like, I don't have a database. I, have lived here his whole, he's almost said like his whole life. I'm like, tell me more about that. You've lived here forever. Like, you've got high school friends and high school friends' parents, and, he was in his late 20s, and he's like, nobody likes me. Like, I was not a good person. I was in jail, like, blah, 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 blah. Like, I was not a good human. I'm like, okay, we have to start over, right? You burnt your bridges with your everybody knows you. Where are we going to start? Networking is a great place to start. If you move to a new area, if I move to a new area, and I've actually thought about this, right? I would be doing an open house every single day of the week, and I would be working from the open house. I would have 20 open house signs, and I would put them up every single day in generally the same area.
But how would you be getting those open houses if you were new to the area?
How'd you get my open?
You emailed me? Oh,
So-
no, I emailed you because Ryan. Well, I am new to the area, so that's why I'm asking. Like,
Yeah, you just ask the agents in the office who's got a vacant open. Like, now you can work from anywhere, right? You've got your laptop. Why wouldn't you sit at a place where a buyer would walk in? No one's coming to find you here, right? So if you have it open, maybe it's not all day. I mean, you certainly could if it's vacant and no one lives there. What do they care, right? I'm going to have it open. Anybody can come through. Now maybe you're like, well, I don't feel safe or whatever. Fine. Come up with all your excuses or reasons you want. You keep them. I'm going to go ahead and have opens. Right? But what you get to do is, I would be building business relationships for my new network. New to the area, I'm looking for like-minded people who are interested in supporting each other's small businesses as a group. Meeting, talking once a week via Zoom, mind sharing, database sharing, passing referrals, what have you. And you go through and you can find plumbers and carpet people and roofers and landscapers and insurance people and estate planners and divorce attorneys and estate planning attorneys and mortgage people and title people and the Arbonne lady and the Tupperware lady and all those ladies, right? Those ladies know a lot of people and they meet people on a regular basis. And by the way, they have no problem telling people constantly what they do for a living. You think anything's annoying? That is. Right? I had a guy who I used an example to, he had, was it Amway? You guys remember Amway? I think it's still around. This is a recent example. He's like, God, I just don't want to be like that Amway friend of mine. I think I get that. Like, do you want to buy Amway? No. He calls me all the time, and every time I see his number, I just don't even want to answer. I know why he's calling. But you don't want to buy Amway. No. Okay, if you did, would you call him? And I wasn't sure what the answer was going to be, right? He might have said no. He's like, well, of course. Like, I might want to pick up the phone then, but I don't. I feel bad telling him no all the time. I said, if somebody else said, do you know of an Amway person? He's like, oh my God, like he was just walking right into my, thing. It's like, I would tell them yes, all day, like, please call this guy. Like, I finally want to, so you're obsessed with finding this guy a referral. He's like, yes, because that's what he wants, right? People want to give you what you want, and you don't want to be that guy. Hey, what's going on?
What do you teach them?
Legion.
Cool.
Yep. You want to tell them how it's done?
I think I should take a back seat.
No. Jordan is great. This is Jordan if you haven't met Jordan.
Can I sit in for a minute?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, please. Jordan always wears 7 shirts. It's pretty impressive how he does it.
I'm always cool.
Yeah.
Move down south and you'll do the same.
So networking, like meetup.com.
Yep. Meetup is great. Yep, that's a good way if you don't know anybody. Like, that's just generally networking, right? You can go meet people who all like arcade games, and then you have something in common. Networking in a way that I'm talking about is actually getting like a business conversation or business commitment with a variety of different vendors where you're going to ask for 1 referral for them per year to support their business and put them on your preferred vendor list, right? Yeah, go ahead.
I'm sorry, I have a question. So I do social media for a few companies in my local like town. So one being like a dog daycare, I do like their marketing and stuff on Facebook. How could I go about asking them if I can like leave business cards there at like their office or stuff like that? Like what's an appropriate way to ask those type of questions?
I would just ask that directly.
Okay.
Yeah, hey, I'm getting into real estate. Would you be open to letting me put some business cards out on your counter?
Okay.
Yep, go ahead.
I didn't quite fully understand. I'm going back to the cold calling. You brought up just listed, just sold. I didn't fully understand what you meant by that.
Well, what are you going to say when you call these random people? And how are you deciding which random bucket to call? Normally, it's location-based, right? Somewhere around in your area, in your town, in your city, in your neighborhood. And then what are you going to say? I just listed a property. There's a new listing on your street. Get permission from that listing agent. You're welcome to cold call around any of my listings with my listing information. Okay, my office just listed, right? We just listed a property in your neighborhood. I was calling to make sure you knew about it. Do you know anybody who's looking to move into the neighborhood? Do you know anybody else who's looking to buy, sell, or invest in real estate? Because we've got so many leads on it. Or hey, we just sold a property in 3 days up the street from you. Do you know anybody else who'd be interested? 2 buyers missed out. Right, so that's an easy conversation. You can call around and say you're open house, but otherwise you can say anything you want in cold call.
Where do you get that bucket of random phone numbers?
Cole directory.
What's that?
Cole, C-O-L-E,
Directory.
directory.
What's that?
It's a directory of bucket of numbers based on an address around like a perimeter.
Just on cold directory, just like Google it and it'll
Yep.
pop up and have a bucket of phone numbers of
You have to
a
pay
zip code.
for a subscription and to Cole directory, and you can pull numbers. Yep.
When you do that,
Yes.
per number, you need to check the do not call registry.
I think there's a button on there that lets you, like the Cole directory allows you to sift for the do not call.
Okay, so like cold directory like will sort that for you.
Correct.
Okay.
Yep. Yeah. Yep. Events are great. I'm a big fan of free events. Get vendors, partners, figure out how to do them for free, or things that don't cost per person. You know, you can do a movie in a park with popcorn for $100, right? Like just think cheap. You never know how many people are going to show up, and there's no reason to spend money. You don't need to. Agents burn a lot of money. You could have a tailgate party in front of a Saints game with all your marketing stuff and invite them to come down to the Saints game, send them a ticket and just join us beforehand. Make it a family night, make it during family night. Here's a link, buy yourself some tickets, come and have a, popcorn and balloon from us and come say hi. We're gonna be in the parking lot. Like, you just don't have to go that big. Does that make sense? I see agents spend a lot of money. We are big into the dumpster event. We do a dumpster event every spring. We didn't this spring, but that is we bring 2 dumpsters into the parking lot and invite people to haul their stuff out of their house and dump it for free. Those are $300. I tell everybody to come. It's $300 no matter how many people show up. Right?
That's a good idea.
And I get a vendor to help, and people love it because they always can't get rid of their junk, right? It's like, where do I even do with it? So we give them a list of the things that are allowed, the things that aren't allowed. We give them the resources if they want to take anything somewhere else that we can't take. Pass out some cider. We say, we're going to be here from 2 to 4. You can come anytime all day. Love to see you. I'm very impatient. I can't stand by a dumpster. Social media events. You can teach first-time buyer classes. You can watch some of mine. I do every other Tuesday. I do a buyer workshop, a seller workshop, buy and sell at the same time, and an investor. You can go on the exceptionalhometeam.com/events or event. I think it's singular, which bugs me, but I didn't make it. The Exceptional Home Team, yeah, /event, top.com/event. You'll see those there. You can register. What else do we have? We have kind of a sad list here. What are we missing? Oh, like, you can start a poker night. COVID just puts a bummer in all these. Like, we're just a belly to belly kind of business here. Lunch, coffees, dinners. If you don't have a goal to meet with somebody for a lunch, coffee, dinner every week, that's something you easily could add that's fun, that makes it easy for you. And just try to find people that you wouldn't normally meet with, not your normal core people in your inner circle of friends. Make it those distant people you just don't make time for, or you would really enjoy talking to. Lenders, lender partners, they have referrals, guys. They're always looking to pick up new agents on and to bring in. You can make commitments that if I send you somebody, I want you to promise to send me one back and make a trade, right? That's 1 for 1. You get one buyer and you send it to somebody, you're gonna expect one back. You do have to call and ask them for one back. You have to remind them. Same thing with, like I think when Jordan popped in, we were talking about the networking groups and giving back or the networking groups and that business agreement that we're going to have to be on my preferred vendor list of where you're going to get my referrals, right? We're going to make sure that if I'm giving you referrals and passing out your name, Mr. Roofer, you must know one person a year that is going to sell their house.
Well, insurance agency, because I worked at an insurance agency and I know the.
Exactly. And so it's just finding those people and having the conversation to ask, can I put my business cards there? Can we get into business together and do some fun stuff? Like, make this fun. And all of a sudden you get 12 people and then you go to work for them. You're like, how am I going to find that financial planner referral? Who do I know? I want to give them a name. And then go give them a name within the first week. And then you're going to follow up with them and you're going to have lunch, coffee, or dinner with them. Right? You can make your entire business off these 20 networking people asking for 1 referral per year and hit your goal of 12. That's what I mean. Like, get focused in one of these lanes at a high level so that's where you put your energy, because the problem is we kind of sprinkle over a little bit of all of these and don't do anything well. I'm totally guilty of that.
Do you feel like within your first year you started real estate, like you were trying all these different things? Because that's like where I feel like I'm at. Like, I'm trying all these different things to find like where my niche is or what I feel like will be a good area for me to like focus on once I find that area.
Mm-hmm.
Like, is that okay that like within the first year you're doing that, or should I really be focusing on like top 5 that I think that will be my area?
That's a good question. I would pick the top 3
Okay.
that light you up right now, right? That you know are kind of your thing, and then you could change them later. But I think the problem is we sample everything and we don't get enough momentum going.
Yeah, that's what I feel like.
Yeah, I'm still sampling all of them, to be honest. I do a little of a lot of them, and I really tried to train my brain to just do 1 or 2 really well, and I just don't. But I can do that now. Like, I made it through. I think that there wasn't nearly the distraction before. It was all belly to belly networking. It was 20 years ago. I mean, like, I had an email address. I was ahead of the game. So it was really just having conversation, lunch, coffee, dinner conversations, just talking to people. And that's at a basic level. We go back to page 1, 6 people a day, call and have a conversation. These are all the places you can go. And the social media and all that stuff, just be careful that you don't spend your time like setting up a neighborhood page and then like thinking and then never taking it the rest of the way, right? You can get distracted in the minutia of some of these. So make sure that you've got one that's a simple, straightforward, like one, you should do open houses. That should be on your list for sure. Because buyers are ready to buy and they're there unrepresented. You should do 4 a weekend. 2 Saturday, 2 Sunday. You're bound to have one that's good. You won't burn an entire weekend sitting at one open for 2 hours where no one came. Make sense? So open houses for sure. I'm gonna say for sure your database because you can't ignore it. It won't produce results right away, but it'll produce amazing results later, and you have to start working it now. It's like a slow cooker. You can't turn it on and expect it to do something later. It's in 8 hours all day long, no matter what. If you don't have a slow cooker, Google it. And then I would pick something, social media has to be in there, but that actually takes 5 minutes a day. And then if it was me, I would pick this networking. But we've got expireds and for sale by owners. The problem with expireds and for sale by owners right now in this market, this is where I've made a ton of my business. It used to be 50% of my business. Problem with expireds right now is if they aren't selling, there's a problem with the human, not the house. And for sell by owners, I am going on those appointments left and right, and I have them all but ready to hire me, and they sell it the next day.
What about the houses that are for sale by owner and they have their price way overpriced? How do you just move on?
They're not motivated,
Okay.
right? It's just like, they're just like the expireds then, right? If it was priced well, it would sell. And maybe it needs some panache and it needs some updates and it needs some this, and you can add that if you're close and you find a unique situation. But it used to be that I could call 20 expireds, set 2 appointments and sell one every time. I can call 20 expireds right now and like, they're crazy. Like they're like, I'm not, like just even the message, the agent isn't the problem. And it used to be the agent was the problem. Now the seller's the problem, right? Same thing with all those visibles that aren't selling. The seller's the problem. The price is too high. They aren't motivated. They're difficult to communicate with. Like they'll make your life a living hell.
Can you explain how the seller's the problem with the houses that aren't selling that have like a realtor?
Because the market is selling itself right now.
Okay.
And so if it's priced at 500 and it should be at 450, it's not going to sell. Right? So when you talk to them, typically they've already had conversations with their realtor and they're like, I'm not reducing my price. The market's amazing. My house is supposed to be a multiple offers and I don't know what the problem is.
Okay.
Well, sir, it sounds like, you maybe want to stay. No, I want to sell, but only at my price. You're not motivated.
Okay.
Right? That's just how it sounds different. Where before it was, geez, I just don't really know. We've had a bunch of showings and my agent isn't calling me back, right? The agent was the problem and it wasn't priced right and they were willing to listen. Just no one was telling them. And right now, it's just a little different. And those ebb and flow. So expireds went away when the market got stronger, right? Everything was selling, except those that weren't saleable or the people weren't motivated to change the price, even if the realtor gave them the bad price. And so then it was all for sale by owner market. Now the market's so tight, even the for sale by owners are selling. Right? People are willing to take that risk. They're willing to be that, right? Like they just have to get something. And so these are tougher than they used to be. Otherwise, I was a big fan of those, especially for somebody who wants to cold call and isn't afraid to be hung up on and all that stuff. This is where that used to be half my business. And then the rest of the stuff is just staying social, really, right? So it's really just staying engaged and staying in communication with other people. So the business plan, let's look at my calendar. 10:30, we'll take a break in a second. Actually, let's take a break now. Because I'm gonna go to a business plan. Can't try to replay this. We got that. Any questions so far before we take a break? No? All right, well, let's come back in 15 minutes. And then we'll probably end early, but we'll go through some of this stuff.
Is this Ignite?
Mm.
Y'all are so lucky to have Christy.
You are far too sweet.
positive.
Good.
Yeah.
I'm starting. I feel guilty.
What would you think?
I feel so guilty. So that was I gotta go. Like, yeah. Really? That's awesome. Okay. I know. It's a huge. It was pain probably.
Yeah, and
Again, that was cut in half.
yeah, 24.
Yeah. So that was. And anything else I was saying, so.
I don't either. I really like that.
Interesting.
Yeah, exactly.
That's that. can write on those that do.
I need to jump in more, Michelle.
Yeah, like, again, most people. Which is just so funny because I pulled out our sheets. Okay, this is and that, you know, jokes are like, well, and that's the first of the year, spring to the summer. Okay. Lead generation, big deal.
All right, it's 10:45. I had an office coffee in so long. Kind of tastes good. Hello. Hey. Oh, whatever. If you're gonna I just want those two to be able to fit there. It's off by 2 inches. So whatever, you can move it all the way over to the well. Okay. Be together. Okay. I'm teaching a class. All right, fine. Here's my husband. All right. He doesn't call very often. We have all sorts of people at our house. I told Wendy I couldn't teach today or teach Friday because I had like 4 appointments. And that's how you make it sound like you're busy, by the way. I just moved 2 weeks ago. I'm just used to talking like that. I have 4 appointments. Well, I had like the ADT guy and the Premier Water person and all these like things happening at my house. And I put them all on one day so that I'm only distracted from my business for one day instead of being distracted with multiple appointments through the whole week. Does that make sense? Like if you're gonna do, I learned that from having my Thursdays off. Have a day where you put all your personal stuff. The other days are your work days. So if you're gonna set an appointment to get your toes done, or your nails done, or something, your hair done, or I don't know what guys do, your haircut, just do it all on the same day at the same general time. And that's your time that is for all those things. You're gonna go golfing with some buddies because you always do that and you know that's really not business. If you're honest with yourselves, put it there, right? And then you only have so many days a year, like most people, to take care of your personal stuff, right? Dentist appointments, doctor appointments, anything like that goes on that one day a week. And then it doesn't start to ooze, you don't realize how much of it you did in the month of November. That makes sense? It's a way to kind of time manage a little bit. So anyways, and I was wrong, and my Premier Water person and the dog appointment were today, not Friday. So now my husband's there on his own, which then brings phone calls. Okay. So, but I do talk like that. I have an appointment. I would tell you I have an appointment if I was going to take my kids to lunch. Like I have commitments already. Everything's an appointment. Your clients don't care if you have a hair appointment. Don't ever tell them that, right? They don't care if you have kids. They don't care if it's your kid's first birthday. I will never stop telling this story. That's when I learned it, right? Because you get the inevitable. I know it's your daughter's first birthday, but could you show me this house again? I think we want to write an offer. Now, some people wouldn't go. I'm addicted to closing a deal. I'm there, mad as a hatter, Had I told them I had a commitment, another appointment, they wouldn't have done that. They don't care. And it doesn't matter how much friends you are. It's actually worse when they're actual friends with you. And these people weren't. Like, they just were clients, right? So I was like, I tried to make it like, this is a day I cannot work. Anyways, get off my storytelling soapbox. We lost Bruce. Okay, so when we go into business planning, right, we kind of did our, we know we want 12 sales, right? And when I said pick your top 3, because anybody seen this document floating around? You guys in Trey's class? Jordan and I have done this. Jordan?
Yep.
What is this, Jordan?
This is a model
What's it called?
to create your success. Is this the 12 by 12? No, this is the.
Jordan. It's a
Oh
GPS.
yeah, GPS. Yeah. Of course.
Goals, priorities, and strategies. You'll also hear it referred to as a 135. 135. I don't call it that because in Keller there's enough terminology, and a 135 is also your 1 year, 3 year, and 5 year goals. Do you know where you want to go? Speaking of the 135 in 5 years, where you want to be your business?
Can I ask you a question?
Yeah.
So in your years of experience, going through especially some really tough times, when you're looking at the uncertainty of this time, how does that affect? Can you look back and say, be confidently go, hey, this, I know that's going to be tough. Could be a tough time. Could be a great time. We don't know. To still, that's the best way to just go. This is where I'm going, regardless of what market's doing, what's going on. I mean, how if you were to look at your younger self, and I'm sure coming into uncertainty, going, what the heck is going on here? Does that give you just the confidence to just continue to just say, this is where I'm going, regardless of what the market's doing?
Right. I 100% am going somewhere regardless of the market. The market will change year over year, and so my strategies need to adapt to the changing market, but I will always be headed in the direction of my goal. That makes sense. The goal won't change because of the uncertainty of the market. What I've been through and what I didn't understand repeatedly over the last decade is when people would say they look forward to the shift, because it kind of scared me and it gave me some anxiety. I do understand that. I do look forward to this shift. I can't wait for the market to change. Now, I don't think, and I'll get back to this, I don't think that we're going to slam the door shut. I was a little freaked out in March, I'll be honest. I was like, we're never going to sell another house. Oh my God. Like, real estate as we know it, and you know, everyone's going to be living in these buildings that are their homes, but nobody's paying on, and right, like we're all going to be somewhat homeless, but with nowhere to go, right? I feel better about that now. Obviously, we all maybe are, or depending on how you feel, maybe we'll all end up with COVID at some point, and it'll just be a thing of the past. And it's a legitimate problem, right? We have to wear masks, we have to do things differently, we might be on lockdown again. I am planning to be on lockdown again, right? Like I that's in my business plan. I know exactly how my business strategies are going to shift when that happens, which is just awful.
Can I ask
Right.
when you think that's gonna happen?
November, December, right after the election or the day before the election, right? Strategically.
You think they're going to do stay-at-home order again and essential business only again?
I don't know. I think the schools are going to go first, and that's going to cause a huge problem anyways for our clients and our business. So regardless of whatever the governor does, right? Does that make sense? Either way, our clients are going to be completely rattled and priorities will change, right? Because they won't be able to go to work again. I mean, it's going to be, you shut down schools completely and it's going to be a disaster. And I think that will happen. That's already in the conversations. Not shut them down completely, but total distance learning. Right now we have all the elementary kids at school, or a lot of them. And and so anyways, so let's talk about the life cycles of the market, because I think Jordan brings up an interesting point. So we're gonna do listings, I'll do buyers, because I do listings and buyers. Right, okay. You may recognize this puppy. It's in one of your books. I think it's in a shift. About in the middle. This is talking about the sales cycle of a seller's market and a buyer's market. And these are listings, because I did that earlier, right? So these are my sellers. So right now we're at a seller's market. This is a balanced market, which means we have 4 to 5 months of inventory, right? This is 1 to 3 months, or in some cases 0 to 3 months. And this is 6+ months. Now, when the pandemic hit, I felt like it just like went flatline, not even just, 4 to 5 months, but just like was dead in the water. So it was hard to know. In an election year, typically this is my 4th election year of my career, we usually have a soft market. Big money stops moving and there's a trickle effect of uncertainty that slows people down, right? You aren't sure who's going to be in power, nobody's making any big moves. When big money stops moving, it eventually softens the market. So I always prepare for a soft fall, right? Now we have a pandemic on top of it. We have pent up demand from spring. We didn't get enough houses sold. So I think we're going to be just fine through fall. Now, we do need to hit a balanced market first. Typically, we don't go from a seller's market to a buyer's market in 1 year, right? It's a slow, gradual 2 to 3 year process in this middle. So the nice thing is, those 50 buyers I have can all of a sudden all buy, right? Because all of a sudden they're not in multiples anymore. Oh my gosh, we walked into the right house and they're just gonna take our offer and we only have to pay full price, right? Like you're gonna live through that first. So we've got, hey, how are you? Good. You're gonna live through that part first. And so it's just a matter of maybe it's 1 to 2 years because of the pandemic and forbearances and foreclosures and those things that are likely to come back. But we do have some time. And so I think that we're gonna have, if we're gonna shift fast to here, it's still a couple of years away. I think we're still a good 12 to 18 months away from that, which is a long time for you to build your careers up and do that. I do think it's important for you to start understanding short sales and bank loans. However, in this space where it's going to take a year or two for things to shift, and that would be really fast. These are 7-year sales cycles. So if we have year 2020, this would be 2027. And then we go, right? Then 2034, right?
Which is your favorite cycle?
Huh?
Which is your favorite one?
Right here.
I don't know.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because this has happened for so long, all the realtors leave, and there's a lot of deals to be had. Business is easier. I'm trying to explain this to some of the agents on my team, and I think that's part of what happened with my team is, in it shrinking, was it's really tough to make money at the peaks of the market, right? There's not enough deals. And so if you're dealing with, you only make money if you have listings and you don't have any listings and you are writing 5 offers, like you're grinding, right? You're writing 5 offers with every buyer, you're showing 5 times as many homes. You can't get, like, it's 5 times as much work to make the money. Same thing went to here. In 2011, I had 40 listings. I was like, I need another listing, like I need a hole in the head. I need a buyer who wants to buy something. In order to make money, I wasn't making any money, right? So it was hard. My pipeline looks like the market at all times. So I need to have, in these markets, I need to have 3 times as many people in my pipeline to hit my goal. Which is why I'm saying if I need another buyer, like I need a hole in the head right now, right? I need listings, those will sell, right? So, however, when this happens, what happens to my buyers? They get choices. They go under contract. They can now move. They're willing to sell their house for a reasonable price because now they can get a little bit better deal on the house. They don't have to overpay, right? All of a sudden, we start to get yeses around each corner. We show 4 houses. They pick one. They buy it. We're done. All the agents, I don't know, 3 of the 4 of you will be in different careers because you won't listen to this class. Feel it? But that's the statistics, right? You're in a business with 90% attrition. If you just listen to me, it would be 100% success rate. Right? But there are agents out there. I dealt with one today or yesterday who's never done a deal, just like you guys, right? People are getting in because it's a hot market, and eventually it'll become even harder to find the deals. And then you'll leave or you won't succeed. And then all the people that were doing the 4 or 5 deals, it became harder or they had a bunch of listings and they'll just leave. And then we're back to dealing with people who really know, the ins and outs and the ways, and you can be those people. I didn't mean to say that the 3 of you aren't going to succeed. You may all 4 in the next batch of 4, they'll all be gone. But it is a tough grind. And in the midst of this, you have to figure out how to sell a house, which is all the other questions and classes, right? You have to figure out how to navigate somebody through a really big financial acquisition on top of protect their interests and make sure they get the right price and make sure you negotiate it right and don't say the wrong things and don't not say the right things, right? Don't say too much, don't say too little, right? What am I supposed to say? What am I supposed to keep to myself? Those are all the nuances that you get to learn along the way that'll eventually make you a great agent versus just somebody who could sell you a house. But it all starts with you've got to find the clients. If you don't find the clients, then you're just wasting your time learning stuff you're never going to use. Okay, so great question, but I think there's some time. Now we've got, I don't know the percentage. Last I heard 8% of mortgages are in forbearance. I can't spell that. You get it. That's a lot. However, I have 7 mortgages and I put all mine in forbearance because why not? So I'm hoping there's some smart people out there, but let's just go with 10% of people are smart, 90% aren't. So we might be, oh, shoot, I gotta take this. This is an old lady who doesn't have call waiting or email. This is Christy. Good, how are you?
The way it stands, without a signed contract, the whole shebang, they'll give me 11.3.
Oh, that's a pretty decent number.
I think so.
I like that.
So I said, okay. I can't get a signed contract. I'm not doing it on my neck. You know what I mean?
Yes, right. Yeah, and we don't want to wait for a refund later or deal with money after proving that they did the work and having to deal with that either.
Yeah. So I said to him, so, I went over it again and again. I mean, not again and again, but a couple of times to make sure. So I said, if I just want to take this without a signed contract, this is what I can get. So he got 11,270 something. I had 11.
Awesome. Okay, let me call the buyers and then I will get back to you. I think that could be in the realm of doable. So let me see what we can do.
I didn't say anything to her yet.
No, yeah, you don't need to say anything to her. All right, let me call you. I'll call you back in about an hour.
Okay, no problem.
All right, thanks, Toby.
Okay.
All right, bye. You should hear me do her accents. She's so fun. Okay, thank you for letting me take that call. That is an old lady with an investment property to sell, and I sold it to my buyers, and it's got a really bad roof. So we were trying to get the roof replaced by going through the insurance company because there was just a big hailstorm. Now, she probably hasn't paid attention to that property in a decade, and so we were able to prove that there was hail at some point, which we quoted the August 10th storm. There is a storm on August 10th. You should be checking for that if you're showing houses. Having a roofer come out and make sure that there is or isn't hail damage. You can sometimes have the seller be requesting a new roof from their insurance company, and you still can close it and just call me if you have problems with that. So that's supposed to close tomorrow. That might actually happen now, but we canceled it. So let's see what happens. Hold on.
What if you didn't own your house at the time there was hail damage, but you had someone come look at it now when you own it? Does that make sense?
Yeah, you need to have owned it during that time. Yep. Oh, I just did it. I stopped myself every time.
It's
Okay.
interesting you said 8% forbearance. I mean, I was just talking to my CPA too.
Yeah.
It was a really bizarre conversation where he said it was about COVID and stuff. He goes, well, I'll tell you, I know 24 people that have filed for bankruptcy. I know about 4 people that got, through friends who got COVID. But so we just chatted about us, and I was like, 24 people. Greg has been in business a long time. Knows a lot of people, have a lot of clients, but to have 24 people, businesses go bankrupt in this time is how that's going to hit the housing market is going to be interesting.
Exactly. And so there is kind of this like aftershock that will come, and we don't know what that's going to do. So there will be sales, right? People will sell their house, and luckily we're in so there's a few things. We'll just have a real estate 203 conversation here that is not really about lead gen, but educating you on where the market's at. I'll give you some info, I'll just start talking about what I think about it. So hopefully you can regurgitate some of it and sound like you really have your finger on the pulse of what's happening. That's helpful. So one thing I've always been able to do is talk like I know what I'm talking about, right? I generally talk with confidence in my tonality, and it comes across and people believe me, and I am not wishy-washy, and I'm just really direct, and we have a conversation. But with you got to start knowing some of these numbers so you can talk about real estate and educate your clients. This isn't a normal conversation because it puts a little fear on the market, right? But with 8% of homes in forbearance, what the forbearance was able to do is suspend their payments. In any Fannie Mae or Freddie Mac backed loan, those payments are able to be added to the end of the payoff, right? So the day you don't have 3 more months at the end anymore to pay it. The day that it was due is the day it's due. So if you were gonna have your home paid off 10 years from today, on October 31st, that was your last payment, it's still due that day. You will just now owe $21,000 if your payment was $7,000 a month and you deferred 3 months of it.
You're saying on that the last payment.
The last payment.
It doesn't extend it.
No.
It just says the last day. It's kind of like a balloon.
A balloon, exactly. It's a balloon payment at the end of the loan is what happened to all those forbearance plans. Any Fannie Mae or Freddie Mac backed loan, they're not all that way, but 80% of the loans are. And so it also is due when they sell. If you're meeting with somebody who currently has their home in forbearance, it became a wait on hold for 10 hours process where everybody wasn't sure and they just sat on hold because nobody was sure if they were gonna have a job, not have a job, whatever. I wasn't sure if my tenants were gonna have jobs. So I threw them all into forbearance. I don't know if they're gonna stop paying. I don't wanna pay on all the mortgages, right? Can't hurt. I'll totally take 4 months off of making mortgage payments. So now it's a click of a button. You can go online and just sign up, right? That's how easy it is to do. So hopefully people are being smart and saving their money, but I doubt it, right? But if you're meeting with somebody whose home is currently in forbearance, they actually have to pull it out of forbearance and pay all the back payments and get it current and have a letter from the bank, which sometimes can take 2 weeks before they can qualify for a mortgage.
So but they can pay that at closing, right? If they sell their house, they can, or no?
No, because they can't qualify to go anywhere. If they're going to turn into a rental, you can always sell. You can sell a house.
So,
Sellers.
If they want to get
they want to buy a new house, they can't qualify.
Forbearance, they have to pay it off.
Yeah, so I just decided to sell my house because the market was crazy, overinflated, right? I sold my big pretty, my dream home. Long story there. If you've been here at the Market Center, you've heard about my house. I had to pay every single one of those mortgages up. Man, that chopped my hide. The 7 mortgages after 3 months, I had an extra 40 grand sitting there that I was going to buy another investment property with.
Oh, on all of them?
On all of them. Every single loan in my name had to be caught up.
So did you buy your second drink home then?
No, no, I'm gonna wait till the market tanks. No, no, that's another fun class, and I'm gonna start telling that story because I went and I just bought my home for cash, my current home. I have no mortgage payment, and I did that on a 15-year plan by mapping out something like this and working it backwards. And my dream home I did build. I actually thought I would build it like 10 years from now. And I fast forwarded that because I had a builder who wanted to build me a house and the only proper place to put it was on the lake to make the money I wanted to make on it. So we did it as an investment and we sold it at a premium and were able to make, I bought it for 900, I sold it for 1.5 million. I came into it with money, a down payment that I got from selling one of my investment properties. I put that money down and I didn't need to sell my other house in order to do that. So by the time I sold my other house, I pulled equity from that. So I had $900,000 of equity sitting on a $1.5 million house. And I went, what could I live in for 900 grand and have no mortgage payment? Pretty nice house, not on the water. And I went, what's it worth to you? Right? That's what it was worth to me and my family. I have no problem driving 10 minutes to my mom's house and getting on the boat. Right? So it's just about, and I felt the energy get weird in here for a second.
I was thinking what the awesome part of that story is you bought low, sold high. That's great. Were you able to use a 1039 exchange somehow, like tax, or is that just a part of the price of land? Like, did you have to pay a huge?
No, because it was my primary residence.
Okay.
So you're allowed to do that with your primary residence. When I said I sold the investment property and used that money to buy the lot and put that money down, I screwed up my own 1031 exchange. So I had to pay tax on that money, but the rest of it I didn't. It all came from primary residences that I sold. So my other house that I lived at before then, I kept for 3 years and then sold it. So I still lived in it 205. I was able to take that equity, pile it from the other equity, and then pile it together. And you guys who are young, there's a whole class that I've done online that is about how to, I forget what I call it, but the general principle is, right, buying investment properties now and letting them sit. Right, so those investment properties, I put all on 15-year mortgages over 10 years ago. They're currently making $50,000 a year in profits where they were not profitable when I first bought them. They were break-evens. And they'll all be paid off and they'll be bringing in 80 grand a year in passive income in 5 years. Well, what happens in my life in 5 years? I've got a child in college. Right? So college savings plan, right? I have 3 houses that'll be owned free and clear for them. They can each have one, live in one, live off the rental. But these are, if the kids suck and they're not very nice people, then they're mine. Right? But there are different ways that you guys can get really purposeful with the knowledge that you'll gain by working at Keller Williams and business planning with people like myself and Jordan and all the things he's learned over time, that you guys can craft out pieces of your business that will end up like getting you to maybe financial places you've never thought possible. Because I will tell you, I bought my first house at 19, but I was just like everybody else sitting here, not sure what to do, not really sure how I was going to make it in the business, and somewhat like not wanting to pick up the phone and certainly not cold call people. I was okay talking to people I knew about real estate, but I didn't really want to lead generate. I didn't even know what that meant. So there is just the opportunity that's ahead of you to get to somewhere. Like, you will completely overestimate where you'll get in a year and completely underestimate where you will get in 5. right? I said to my husband, we've been married 16 years and we did this big move and, you know, all the stars aligned and it worked out. And I love my current house. And I said, so are we kind of where you thought we'd be? He's like, I think we're kind of further. Like, I never thought we'd get this far. Like, I would kind of agree. Like, it blew my mind. But if you aren't paying attention to it, it just will go behind you. So without purpose and without a focus or an intentionality behind it, you're not going to create or manifest any of it. That makes sense. I could have just went through my life and my days all the time, just kind of living and going on vacation and hopefully, you know, having enough money to do XYZ things. But I was intentional about buying an investment property. I was intentional about any extra money I got going into something like that. And so if you aren't learning about those things, those are the things that can actually get you to those places maybe where you're like, I want 6 figures. That's great. You have a job. Like, how do we get it so you've got passive income where when you're 40, 50, 60, you can retire. You can spend a month in, you know, bow hunting with elk in Colorado. Is that kind of close?
That sounds incredible.
Right? I mean, and that's what it's about. It's about a life by design, but it doesn't just like, we kind of went from the granular level here to like the really big picture over here, and there is a stretch in between, and it's not always clear. But if we start with where we want to go and we slowly work it backwards and you gain clarity, some years it'll be really clear and some years you won't. Like right now, I'm just really clear that I want to increase my net worth by $250,000 in the next 2 months. That's all I'm clear on. I have no idea how that's going to happen, and I don't really want to spend any money doing it.
They say one thing that's helped me a lot.
Yeah,
in this.
please.
First of all, Christy has been one of people that's helped me more than anybody. First of all, so that's why she's teaching class. I'm sitting down. That's just the way it's gonna go, which is amazing. But the second thing too is like all these things to do and things to think about. You know, you are picking 1, 2, or 3, and you're doing them. You're putting your nose to the ground. You're doing. But the big mindset thing that helped me too is sometimes it's so hard if you're an analytical person is to go, how is this going to turn into a house sale, or this is going to turn into a deal, or this is going to turn into a listing, and it's like you'll stay up all night trying to figure out how that's going to turn into it. But if you'll take almost that blind faith and just put that grit towards doing it, it creates opportunities, and that's what's unique for every different person. You're going to find your niche on capitalizing on your opportunities, which turns into listings and turns into sales and turns into buyers and turns into marketing opportunities or whatever it may be. That you give yourself enough chances to have opportunities, and there's no magic sales thing, but if you just do those steps and keep doing it, again, I'm realigning, going all in again, pivoting, moving, taking what I've learned from the last season and moving it towards the next. And Christy's doing the same thing at a much higher level, but half the battle's between your ears.
100%. Yeah. Very well said.
Eventually you find the people that trust you. So much of this business is trust. You're creating opportunities to have a relationship with people, and they go, I'm going to pick you instead of you because I trust you, and I'd rather work with you. People got options. So just the steps create those options, give you the opportunity to find your stride and recognize it. And you're like, oh, that actually worked pretty good.
Yeah, I think you're right, and it's not always easy to figure out how this is going to work. So the granular level is, right, if we take this by working out and exercising and health, we know that having cookies every day and sitting on your couch is not going to do it, right? You might be currently cookies and couching your real estate business. But we know that you can get healthy, right, by getting up and walking your 10,000 steps. This is your 10,000 steps, right? You don't really know where you're going to go or where it's going to take you, but it is the right direction towards your goal, which is the 6-figure income. It's always 6-figure income when we get in these rooms. it is going to get you there, and you won't be able to figure out or see it because it won't make sense to you yet. There's so many things that are unclear. You just have to put the blindfold on and know that you're walking in the right path, because there's little bumpers on each side, which are your business plan. If you just do this each day, and we're going to set up a business plan in a second, I'm going to show you how to do it, then you just follow that. Even with, we call them drunk monkeys, chattering in your ear. You've heard drunk monkeys, right? Even with the drunk monkeys, like, I don't get it, or I don't know. Let's take Jordan's more analytical brain. I don't get how this is really going to equate to anything. I'm not getting anywhere. Just trust the process and trust those who've walked the line before you. This is what will help. And having that long-term clarity and vision, we can always work it backwards to figure it out, which right now we just went, how much money do you want to make? And then we get to play with the fun stuff once we get the basics down, right? But we aren't all of a sudden going to go run an Ironman right now. We're going to go 10,000 steps, and then we're going couch 5K, right? And that's this class. And then we can get you a personal trainer, which is a coach, right? Okay. So, any questions? We kind of went total rogue off topic, but I think it's, those are some of my favorite things. Okay. So if we want to sell 12, here's your priority. So this is the goal. So it's actually, I always like money up here, even though it's not about money. It's about what money can do, though. Can't do anything without it. So let's just bring it to money. So we know that we want to make $120,000. We want to sell 12 houses. We want the money in there because do we want to sell 12 $100,000 houses? No, we still need to keep our average up. Otherwise, we got to change that to 36. You're selling $100,000 houses. So the real goal is to make the money. We just believe we can do it by selling 12. Okay. So then you're going to have 3 priorities, and where's your business going to come from? Who wants to be my guinea pig? Okay, thank you. You're much more willing to volunteer now, right? Okay.
Well, I would have earlier, but I had my doctor's appointment.
That's true. Okay, good. All right, well, thank you for volunteering. All right, where do you want to focus on your business? These are going to be like the lead gen bucket. So this will be like database, open houses. That's what's going to go here. So where do you feel after the list we made that you'd want to spend your time?
Definitely my database, because like I said, I'm not originally from Minnesota, so really figuring out who is going to be my database since I have family here.
Okay, and so we're going to work on column 1 first. I'm going to get to column 2, and maybe we won't even touch on column 3, because Gary Keller would say that your entire business should be able to be accomplished in 1 column. Okay, so we're going to set this up so you can get 12 sales from your database, which is 1 a month. We probably need 2 leads a month at least, right? In order to get to 1 a month in sales, 50-50. So every other week or so, we need to find somebody who's looking to buy or sell or work with us. So your database. So what are we going to do? These are going to be the strategies that we're going to get. And let's be nice. We'll say we'll do. I'm going to go 4, 4, and 4. And as much as I just said, your whole business should be able to get off your date, off 1 column. Your database is the only group of people that know you're new. And so I'll be really honest. Sometimes, like I said, it's like the slow cooker. And so these come at the end, and I don't want you to burn out and lose money and not have any money to pay your bills because we just were talking to our database. Like I made $0 my first 6 months in real estate. I'll tell you that. It was not rookie of the year. I didn't get an award, none of that stuff. I'm just like relentless in the pursuit of the direction I'm going. That's it. And I didn't make any money my first 6 months. I made money my second 6 months. My goal was to make $30,000, which right now would probably be like 55 or 60. I was 22 and I thought any job I could go get made 30 or 40, probably 30. It was like 24 to 30 was your entry level job. So I'm like, I want to make 50 or 60 grand. I'm going to make double that. Right? So that's probably about accurate, right? Even though it's 50 grand, you guys want to make 80 to 100 or something like that? You'd be happy? Okay? Same kind of thing. So my advice to you is right now, if you live on whatever budget you're living on, continue living on that for the next decade, no matter how much money you make. And that's how you get to the end result of owning your home free and clear 15 years from now. So my budget didn't change until I had a kid. So I lived on $30,000 a year, every year, no matter how much money I made. And I saved every other penny and put it into investment properties. Okay?
Claps on that.
Right? Because are you currently happy? Do you need to go on, right? Start spending money like crazy just because you're earning it? It's not guaranteed. You'll sleep a lot better at night if you don't. It'll be a lot more fun. Okay, so we're gonna do your database. So we know that we need to talk to how many people a week?
For 2 leaves a month.
Well, we already did the math, right? We were here for it. Uh-oh, she's my noon appointment, hold on. This Christy?
Hey, Christy, it's Pat. I just saw a text message that they want a one-day inspection, a one-day radon inspection this afternoon at 4 to 4:30 or something. What is that about?
Oh, well, I'm teaching a class right now, so I haven't looked at it. My guess is they want to drop off the radon test and then pick it up 2 days later. So I haven't heard of a one day, but that would be okay with me too. So either way, they just want to come in to drop and set it up, correct? Or no, they already did that.
Yeah, we already had a 2-day test. I don't get this.
Losing track of my brain. Yeah, we already know it's high. You know what? Can you do me a favor since they want to come right away? Would you have a moment to call Kelly? I did grab your call in the middle of class just because you're that important to me. Will you call Kelly? She'll call and find out what the deal is. I don't know what that is.
I will.
Okay.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye-bye. Okay. I'm putting those on so you can hear any, how to speak to a client, what kind of questions. You never know what's going to be good. I don't know what that is. You heard of that afterwards? Yeah, we just finished all the inspection stuff. You guys know what radon is? Always have your buyer's test for radon.
They want to come in again?
Yeah, we just said we put in our own, I represent the sellers. We just said we put in a system.
And they want it.
And all of a sudden somebody wants to come this afternoon from 4 to 4:30 that she doesn't know. Like the buyer requested to come in for some sort of radon, blah, blah, blah.
Just to inspect where it was.
We're like on step 1. We haven't even called a bid yet. Kelly will figure it out. Leverage. Okay. All right, so database. Oh, we talked about how many contacts we need per week, right? It was 15 and 15, right? So 30 total. So we need to talk to 30 people a week, every week, in order to sell 12 houses. So if you want to sell 24 houses, you need to talk to 60. 36 houses. You follow me? Okay. All right. So we need to talk to, from your database, let's say we're going to talk to, I'm going to say 15. I'm going to put 15 and 15, something like that, if that makes sense. So we need 15 contacts per week. These should all have a number in them. These should all have a number in them because our brain's like what? Clarity. And so we know we want 4 people from our database. We want to do that by doing 15 contacts per week. You're also usually going to have something with events, right, when it comes to our database. So how many events do you want to do?
A week?
A year.
A year?
Mm-hmm.
More?
Well, 4 is in the book. That's part of the full 33 touch. Sometimes my new people do like 2, right? 4 might be a lot to organize, orchestrate, design. So it's up to you. Our goal would be to get to 33 touches, but
Let's just do more. There's no reason not to.
all right. More events. What else are you gonna do to engage with your database?
Social media?
Tell me more. How's that gonna engage with your database?
You could do live events on Facebook,
Yes.
but would that count as events then?
It might, depends if you are going to, so if you want to do live events on Facebook, and that's going to be with your database, or would that be more to the masses?
I mean, it could be your database because it could be some of the same people. You know what I'm saying? Because of your friends that follow.
Okay. Let's do this. We want 4 deals to come from social media, and we'll do your live events there, and it might ooze to any of this.
Okay.
Right? It'll be like an accent piece.
Yeah.
Let's do something like that. Okay, so then we might have lunch, coffee, dinners where you're going to meet with one person a week, or you're going to add a certain number of people to your database each week. Once you get it set, those might be some things we'd add.
Yeah, I like the actual meeting with people in person.
Okay, so let's
do that.
one lunch, coffee, dinner per week.
Okay.
If you want to do more, that's
I was
great.
gonna say 2, but one's fine.
Okay, we're gonna actually, so in order to get one, you're gonna probably have to set 2 or 3.
Okay.
Right, or request 2 or 3 each week. Like, hey, we'd love to have coffee, because people are gonna put you off, they're gonna reschedule you, they're gonna do lots of things.
Okay.
How many people are gonna add per week? And this often is a low number. So like 2 people a week, you get an extra 100 people a year, right? If you were consistently finding 2 new humans to be friends with, that's a lot. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So add how many?
Let's just do 2.
Okay. Okay.
Open houses.
So this is with your database. So,
and this is still, we're trying to figure out how to add.
what about a birthday video, like a birthday message on Facebook?
Oh, wouldn't that go under social media then?
No, not that would be directly at your database. You're not gonna like social media like everybody's birthday.
Okay.
You're just gonna like that's your friends or family. That might be a special note, or you could do a handwritten card. You could do, you know, what do we have on
That
yours?
thing on command where you can set up for people that you worked with previously, where it's like the date that they bought their house.
Anniversaries.
Anniversary, yes.
Yeah, you can do house anniversaries. One thing that you kind of mentioned is since you don't have the way we just set this up, we don't have a networking component to growing your database, even though you want to add 2 people per week. Would you want to like talk to one small business owner a week?
Yeah, I like that.
Okay.
I mean, it's not that I don't have a database here. I've been here for the last 6 years in college, so I do have lots of friends, and
Yeah.
that way I just, none of my family lives here.
You might do like, so you guys, you might do like one meetup, right? If you wanted to, or join a club, right? Or like do something to get you out socially. That's, are things we could add. Then opens. All right. How many are you gonna do, do per month or week?
Well, you said we should be doing 4 a weekend.
Yep.
So whatever, 16 a month.
Okay. Are you gonna take a weekend off?
I don't know about a weekend, but no, because I usually take Mondays off because my fiance has off on Mondays.
All right. So we're gonna do, I'm gonna do 10, I'm gonna say 3 to 4 per week. Because let's hope that you eventually get some buyers and you're gonna need to show houses too. Right, so your Saturdays and Sundays should be first book your opens and then book your buyers around your opens. Okay? And if you can't get one on Saturday or Sunday or you're falling short, you can always do a Thursday evening. You can always do them during the week if you want to be really aggressive and committed to your plan. The best thing you can do, honestly, guys, is do a plan like this or take this one and just follow it relentlessly. If you just do this, I guarantee you will make $100,000. Would you agree, Jordan? Okay, so we want to follow up. I want to put this on here. Follow up from the open. Follow up same day.
I have a question about that. So like the open house I did for you, there was like 3 leads that I got on that one Saturday. Did a lot of them, like when you first started, ghost you right away, and then you just had to keep reaching out?
They all ghost me. Nobody knows how long I've been in the business.
Okay.
It's pretty rare not to be ghosted.
Okay.
I think of Jeannie right now. Jeannie, she won't call me back. Jeannie McCarthy. Still keep calling her. She loves it. I know she does. Another lady, I just had an appointment. That's why I was in this early this morning, 8:30 this morning. Called Mary back. Met her at an open house. Never returned my calls. Finally emailed me.
You did an open house?
I I'm back in the business.
Holy
Told you.
smokes, people.
Boom. Mary Tullisrud, she emailed me. She said, I am busy every time you call. Will you call me on Thursday morning? So had I assumed she didn't want to talk to me, she was just busy every time I called. And I tried to then I called her in the evening and I was hoping to try to catch you. I don't know what a good time for you is yet. Feel free to let me know. And she did. So I called her 8:30. Thank you so much. I'd love to have you come over and blah, 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 blah. It was on her schedule, not mine. So I set a listing appointment and buyer appointment. The lady's house I sold that I did the open house for, I met her in open house. Did she call me back right away?
And we'll say, you have to learn how to do it. You have to learn how to connect, follow up at opens. I mean, I know a lot of people that don't have any success, but there's ways. You have to be persistent. You have to be personable. You have to be.
Yeah. It's kind of like a dance. You have to try to read their signals and try to guess a little bit without assuming the worst case scenario. So I actually met another buyer I got 3 buyers off that opening. Actually, Jeannie's my buyer too, by the way. She just doesn't know it yet. But I met Teddy and Tom, and I've already taken them to see houses. They're lovely. What was my point with that? Oh, because I called them back right away. And I was mad. I did an open from 11 to 1, and I had another appointment after. My appointment was a soccer game with my daughter. So I raced back over to that. I had to drive somebody else to somewhere else and get somebody else to somewhere else to then go to show houses at 3:30. So at 3 o'clock or 3:15, in the 15 minutes I was home, I called back the 3 leads. I luckily called Teddy and Tom. They thought I was Chris from this other property that they liked. And they almost it was a little awkward for them, not for me. I don't care. I got Chris's buyer. And they're like, well, we gave our name to 3 people. You're the first one to follow up. And they're old. And I'm like, well, I hope that means early bird gets the worm, right? That's got to be the rule. Because that's old people. Right? And he's like, yep, I guess so. Guess we'll have to tell Chris. He's like, of all the people, I didn't think you'd be the one to follow up. I thought Chris would for sure, though. You know when Chris called? Monday morning. Doing his follow-up. Too late. Same day follow-up. There's a lot of people out there, a lot of other Keller agents that.
I 100% believe in that.
So, and Chris was a great, gracious guy. They did call, he called and they said, sorry, somebody else got to it, and he wished him luck and with me, and I'm another Keller agent, and blah, blah, blah. So that's how you kind of handle that if that happens to you and you just learn to call sooner.
What are some of your tricks when you're talking to unrepresented potential buyers at open houses?
I believe everyone is unrepresented, even if they tell me they're not.
Sure.
I often will ask, tell me, who is your agent? Maybe I know them. They're like, Sally? Right? They don't usually know. They're just saying yes because they've learned to say yes. And I also assume their agent is an idiot. So I just continue well, I know, I like working with them. Is that going well? Okay, yeah. Well, when I work with, and I just start explaining, I really just start educating them. If they open the door, I educate them on the market or try to give them as much free information as I can about real estate. Right? Mary had an agent until I was talking to her, and now she's like, well, my agent is a part-time agent. Most of the time they're part-time and don't do anything. And so if you can look like you're busy and you know what you're talking about, it's really easy to have clients want to work with you. Not really trying to take anyone's client. Yes.
So like you said, one of your tricks is give as much free information as you can about the market. Can you go into
Are you still there? I cannot hear you.